out and joining the Creators of Wealth Masterclass training today. My name is Deidre Lynn. I'm an international executive as well as top 100 travel agent with Extreme Travel. And also, I've been part of Traveris Global for some 3.5 years. Just a little bit about me. I come from a corporate background. I actually worked at Comcast for some 20 years as a marketing director. I got laid off at that time. Kids were in high school. That was pretty traumatic. And I worked at some odd in places for, a couple of years, basically being what we call underemployed. And I say that because of the simple fact that although I was the marketing director, I did not have a degree in marketing. So it was pretty hard to find a job, doing what I love to do at that point. And the jobs that I did have, I was always so overqualified for. But, at the end of the day, you need a paycheck. You got to make some money. So I did what I had to do, and I've probably worked a couple of odd and end places. I've worked in a dress shop. I've worked at a nursing home. I've done some human resource work. But when I saw the opportunity to work for myself and to create my own travel business and market myself, what can I say? I jumped at it, and 3.5 years later, here I am. So anyway, today I won't be before you long, but what I am sharing today is a 10-step quick start for getting your travel business off to a good start. That's a 10-step quick start for getting your travel business off to a great start. When we attend the opportunity meeting, a lot of times you may have been exposed to a 10-step quick start to getting your recruiting business off to a good start. Well, I like to think of this as the same thing, but for those who are more so interested in booking travel. So I have a presentation I'm going to share with you. I'm actually going to do a screen share, so hopefully you'll be able to view this information as I go over it. So let's see. Let me get started here a moment. And let's see, one more thing. So here we are, becoming a certified travel agent, 10 quick steps to getting a solid start. So whenever I do this training, I always like to ask folks, what did you call your travel agency? And you could feel free to just type that in the box. What are some of the names that you guys came up with when you considered naming your travel agent? I'm always interested to see, the different creative names that people come up with. I myself, I call my particular agency is IMN to Travel. And funny how I came up by that name. Again, I did share with you that I used to be the marketing director at Comcast. And some years ago, when the internet service first rolled out, I was a beta tester. And, you have to come up with a name for your email address. So at that particular time, because I was working at Comcast and I was a beta tester, my email address was imn2surfing@comcast.net. So once I thought, I'm looking to come up with something catchy, I'm a travel agent now, I have this travel business, what am I going to do? And I was like, well, I always have that I am into surfing. Why don't I call myself I am into travel? Because travel is my passion. So that's what I named my particular website. So I have my logo and everything, and we'll, going to just jump right in. So number one of the 10 steps to get started would be to know your product. You want to familiarize yourself with your back office and other tools. One of the main tools is Extreme Travel University, or XTU. You will hear us refer to it as, and or your back office. You have trainings back there. You have your booking desk, the vendors list. General information, anything and everything you need to know to get started. Your personal travel booking site. This is another tool, and that would be the site that begins with www, your name, or in my case, I am into travel, .vacationonline.com. And this is where you can book travel for yourself and friends from anywhere. If you have an internet connection, you are in business. Now, I tend to use my site more for research, but we'll go into that in a little bit further in the presentation. Another thing that you have access to and you need to familiarize yourself with is the member pricing. In the back office, you have access to member trips, you have access to condos, as well as the discounted travel club, or what we refer to lovingly as the booking ninja. And that's where you're going to get some wholesale discounts as well. And also what you have access to is team training and support. You want to stay plugged in. We have weekly trainings that are provided by corporate, and we also would love for you to stay plugged in with your upline leader for more information on team trainings, conference calls, and even social media groups. Two examples of our social media groups would be the Creators of Wealth, as well as the KOW/Extreme Travel Talk. And these are all things that you need to make sure that you are plugged into. Step number 2, Extreme Travel University. Get started. How many of you are currently either completing or you have completed your XTU training and have gotten your certificate? Wow, that's excellent. Now, this is just a snapshot of what it looks back there when you log into your XTU. You're going to see some of the extreme travel events that are coming up. And these are also industry events too, like Cruise 360, for example. That's going to be held in 2018 in Fort Lauderdale. I was fortunate enough to attend this stellar event. Last year, I learned so much, and it helped me take my business to the next level. I'm actually a specialist with CLIA, which sponsors the Cruise 360 program. So one of the other opportunities back there is the Delta Vacations University, and this is a weekend trip that's held every year in September. This year it'll be on September the 16th and 17th, where you can actually go to Atlanta and learn everything there is to know about Delta Vacations. And just a piece of trivia for those of you who are always looking for information on how to book sandals, Delta Vacations is your one-stop sandals stop. You can actually go in and do quotes for sandals for those of your clients who are interested in staying at any of their many properties. And you'll also see in XTU, you'll see different home-based travel agent conventions that are mentioned from time to time. You'll see testimonies. You'll also see your booking desk is back there. The vendors list, which is your one probably most important tool as a travel agent, is the vendors list. So you know who to use when it comes time to book that important trip for your client. And last but not least, your actual certificate, letting people know that you are in business. Step number 3. Step 3 is get ready. Are you travel ready? And if you are travel ready, you should have a valid passport. How many of you have a valid passport? Excellent. You definitely need to make sure that you stay on top of that. And the second thing that you need to be considered travel ready is a travel ID or an industry credential. What ID do you have that shows that you're an industry insider? If you haven't already, apply for your CLIA Embark ID. This is a copy of my CLIA ID. And after my last name, you see where it says ACC. That means I am an accredited cruise counselor. That means that I specialize in cruises. that I've actually gone through the curriculum to get my degree. And currently I'm actually working on my MCC. Now, I always say that it's very important to be travel ready. So when that important opportunity comes along to maybe go on a fam trip or to make some last minute travel arrangements, that you have everything that you need. You don't want to get to the hotel and ask for a travel agent discount and you don't have any ID to show that you're a travel agent. That's just one example. Remember, first and foremost, this travel business has to work for who? It has to work for you. You have to believe in it yourself. And nothing, absolutely nothing creates or builds belief quicker than planning your own trip. So you want to be prepared and know the ins and outs of planning your own trip. So, step number 4, booking your personal travel as an agent. How does a travel agent travel? What do we do when we plan our own trips? Well, firstly, you should have your industry ID or CLIA card. Also, make sure you have a business card. As agents, you will want to book your travel one of the following ways. You at travel agent rates where available. Just keep in mind that travel agent rates are discretionary. They are not promised. And the vendors will usually look in their inventory to see what days maybe, they have low vacancies. And they're not going to give you travel agent rate. I guess the best way to put this is they're not going to give you travel agent rate at high peak times for them in the middle of the summer where they have full paying customers. They're not necessarily looking to book travel agents when they can get when their rooms are full of people who are paying full price. So keep that in mind. Net rates. All a net rate is the retail rate that we quote our customers minus the agent commission. Some vendors will allow you, if you meet the criteria, to book your trip at a net rate. Another way that we can book our travel is wholesale. A good example of a wholesale rates would be the Booking Ninja. One of my Booking Ninja testimonies was even during our national convention. I actually stayed in Las Vegas for 3 or 4 days extra. And I went on Booking Ninja to see what I could find for those extra days. And I found the Palace Station Hotel and Casino. And I actually paid $19 a night plus the resort fee to stay at the Palace Station. So that's a perfect example of a wholesale rate. In that case, I think the wholesale rate would have beat the travel agent rate. Another way that travel agents travel is but with fam trips or fam rates. And these are when available, and they are typically offered to agents who are making bookings with that particular vendor. So again, I'll give you another great example. Let's take Apple Vacations. Apple Vacations yearly has a travel agent appreciation month where they put out fam trips, and typically they look to see if you have been making bookings with them. So what I do is throughout the year, the different vendors that I know that offer fam trips, I always look to secure a couple of bookings with each of those vendors, so when the fam trips come available, that I will automatically qualify to take one of those deeply discounted trips. And last and certainly not least would be retail. Yes, you as a travel agent, you can pay retail. And there are certain examples where you might want to do this. Let's say, for example, you're looking to book a trip, and when you do find a travel agent rate, you find out that a lot of times the vendor wants you still to pay the full price of the trip up front. You might not be in a position to do that right then and there. Maybe you're looking to make payments just like one of your customers. So what you can do is you can book your own trip, book it retail. You can collect your commission after you travel, and you still get to write any and all of these trips off. Why? Because you are a travel agent and you are in a home-based business. Now, where do you go to get these rates? Well, in most cases, you go directly to the vendor site. Like if you wanted to stay overnight, just needed a quick hotel stay. Let's say you want to stay at a Marriott. Well, you go on Marriott site. At the bottom of their site, you'll see the travel agent link. The Hilton has a similar setups as well as IHG, and IHG is the Holiday Inn company that is the company that takes care of Holiday Inn, Crown Plaza, Staybridge Suites, to name a few. And when you go on their sites, you basically want to look for the travel agent link or travel professional link. You either log in with the IATA number, you create a profile, and at that point, you can book your own rooms and things over the internet instead of picking up the phone to call. In some cases, you can book a travel agent rate up until the day before in some cases. Another way to find vendors is when you have questions looking for particular vendors. Always go to XTU first and look on the vendors list there. But sometimes I find vendors and vendor information on Google too. Don't forget to use your loyalty and frequent customer programs. For example, Marriott Rewards is a example of such. Hilton Honors is another example. Also, don't wait till the last minute and don't wait till high tourist season. Another website that you can go to for great travel agent rates is www.spoilagent.com. They have great agent rates and FAM information as well. And there's quite a few other ones. I believe there's one called FAM Travel for Me. And there's one or two more. Some of these sites ask for you to pay a subscription fee, and some of them don't. But at the end of the day, just do your homework, and when it comes time to look for those great travel agent rates. You want to be a product of your product. And what that simply means is take a trip, use the product. This is some videos that I actually did on a fam trip that I took with Charisma Resorts. It was a wedding fam. And when we got there, it was a group of agents. It was about 40 agents. And they literally took us to all 10 of their properties. And each property was like going to another wedding. They had wedding cakes. They had brides. They had the tables set. They had amazing food that you could order for your reception and the guests. Amazing cocktails and drinks, and literally you're sampling everything at each of these resorts. They show you the best places on a resort to get married. They have wedding coordinators that just take you from A to Z. And when I tell you the trip was free, it was free. So all I paid for literally was my airfare from Philadelphia to Cancun. Once I came outside of the airport in Cancun, there was a gentleman there, private transfer from Charisma Resorts. He had my name on a little iPad. I was feeling all special, had a different little walk. And I did the trip. And I want to say I spent 6 days in Riviera Maya, and I went to each of the Charisma properties, and they are breathtaking. So the whole point in the fam trip is getting familiar with the property. So now if somebody were to come to me and say, hey, I'm looking to plan a destination wedding, can you recommend any places? What do you think the first place that I'm going to recommend is going to be for Charisma Resorts, because I actually spent a whole week there. So here's a couple of the reward sites or vendor sites. Here's the site for Marriott, and you can sign up for Marriott Rewards. Marriott Rewards, you can actually collect rewards points on your travel as a travel agent, and you can also collect rewards points when you're booking clients with Marriott, and the same with Hilton Honors. And a lot of times these points can add up to a free stay, and that's the only thing that I know that's better than a travel agent discount is free. So make sure that you are signed up with all of these reward programs with the different vendors that you are booking for your clients. Step number 5 is mindset. You are an entrepreneur. And I'm going to say that again. You are an entrepreneur. You have to develop a business mindset. If you treat this like a hobby, then you're going to make hobby money. You want to treat this like a business. You are an entrepreneur in an $8 trillion industry. So act that way. Don't wait to start earning. Start earning today. Book a trip. Do a quote. Learn your business. Earn while you learn. You're not in business until you have either a client or a business partner. Now, here's an interesting one, value versus cheapest. When you're talking about travel, especially if you're talking about booking, you're talking about a quote, or you're showing something to a customer, always talk value instead of cheapest. As a matter of fact, try to take cheap out of your vocabulary. Instead of saying cheap, maybe substitute words as more economical. Tell everybody that you're open for business. You're not a secret agent, but a travel agent. Post your certificate on your Facebook page. Post your certificate in Instagram. Post it, share it, scream from the rooftops. Let everybody know that you're a travel agent. And it doesn't hurt to post it more than once. A lot of us posted our certificate when we first joined, and we haven't posted it since. People sometimes forget that you're a travel agent. I get that a lot. They be like, girl, I forgot you book travel. Post your certificate, post it regularly, post it twice a year, or just post it every so often and let people, just remind them. And even when they take that trip, and I know you've had this happen to you because it's happened to me, you'll see one of your family or friends posting, oh, this is my current situation, and they're on a beach somewhere, and you'll say, man, you forgot I was a travel agent. You didn't even, give me a call. Let me see if I could get, hook you up with a good deal. Okay, so remind them, let people know. Number 6, get business ready. Be professional. Now, we already talked about being travel ready. Now, what is business ready? How do you get business ready? Well, for starters, be sure to visit your back office. Your first trip needs to be in your back office. Go to your back office, set up your e-wallet for when those commissions start coming in. Create an email strictly for your business, something catchy and not too long. You don't want it to be too long so a person has more of a chance of making a typo when they're typing in your website or your email address. Make sure to create business cards with your business name on them. Not Extreme, not Paycation. This is your home-based business. Extreme is just your host company. When somebody asks you about your travel agency, you tell them the name of your travel agency. When someone asks me about my travel agency, I'm into travel. I don't say I'm with Extreme. If someone asks me who my host agency is specifically, then I'll say I'm with Extreme Travel. But so far as for booking purposes, you know me as I am into travel. If you need business cards, Vistaprint is a great place to start. Earn while you learn, and I can't stress this enough. You are always your best client to practice on. Now, I got started with Paycation Extreme Travel back in April of 2014. And I can assure you, I did not get my first client, my first booking until October. That was a lot of time of me wondering like, gee, is this thing going to work? Gee, what do I do next? Gee, how do I get myself a client? I was actually, during that time, I was amassing and acquiring all the knowledge that I could get. I was on vendors' websites doing certifications, doing trainings. I was doing quotes, but because I wasn't that good at it, and we'll get into that in a minute, a lot of times you send that quote and you never hear anything back from that person. And we're going to discuss that particular topic in just a few seconds. But the whole point is I needed to practice, and I practice every day. And I know some of you are really busy with life. I know, for me, this is my plan A, but maybe for you, this is your plan B. And it wouldn't hurt to just take aside a little bit of time every week, maybe do one certification or learn something new about your business. Just sit down for a couple of hours, just, even if it's just 1 hour a week, donate and carve out that specific time where that is all you're doing, is trying to learn your business and grow your business. And this month, and particularly, well, actually, it's not this month, next month. For those of you who are part of the KOW travel group, I am instituting a learning challenge. Yes, folks, a learning challenge. And each week for the week of September, I want you to go in, complete one vendor training, take a picture of your certificate with the date on it, and post it in the group, because you know what? We are going to start holding each other accountable. And that starts with me. I have even slacked off with my certifications. But just remember, and you're going to see some more information on this, I'm going to be posting that we have a 30-day learning challenge going on our group, the Creators of Wealth Talk group, Extreme Travel Talk group. So I look forward to seeing you guys participating in the learning challenge. And last and certainly not least, knowledge is king. Go to industry websites, go to industry events. A lot of vendors have trainings when they come to your town. If they're in your town and if you can make time, go to those trainings. And you'll gain plenty of knowledge on new destinations and specialties when you do. Now, another place, before I get into this slide, the one place that I want to highlight first that you should go to for your vendor trainings is none other than XTU. Yes, I said XTU. Extreme Travel University has a vendor tab inside of the actual university that has about 7 to 8 vendors that Lori has placed there, because these are some preferred vendors. These are vendors that you are doing yourself a service by completing those particular certifications. And once you get through those, there are also some other websites that you can go to, such as travelagentacademy.com or travelagentuniversity.com. And as you can see here by these pictures, there are plenty of vendors and plenty of destinations to keep you busy growing and learning about your business. Tip number 7, vendor training. Who are you already familiar with? Some of you already travel. I know that I was already traveling before I joined Paycation. Where have you been? What hotels do you like to frequent? Where have your family and friends stayed during their vacations? What destinations are you asked about the most, the least? Here are some suggestions for getting your vendor training started. VAX, which is Vacation Access, and they do excellent training for quotes. So if you need to kind of brush up on your quote skills, or if you don't have any quote skills, I strongly suggest that you get started with VAX. Carnival Cruise Lines. Eventually someone's going to ask you, can you give them a quote about a cruise? Cruising is probably one of the fastest growing segments within the travel industry. So do yourself a favor and get a couple of cruise trainings under your belt. Disney. When I first became a travel agent, people always was asking, oh, I want to take the family to Disney. Do yourself a favor and become Disney certified. There is a lot to Disney, and why not become certified and be the Disney expert? Royal Caribbean is one. American Airlines Vacations, Tours for the World, for that trip to Dubai and to other exotic locations. Expedia Tab. They're not much on commission. However, they're always a good place to go, because a lot of your clients go to Expedia, and a lot of them will tell you, oh, I saw it cheaper on Expedia. Oh, you did? Well, you know what? I can sell that to you too. So make sure you're registered with Expedia Tab. Vacation Express, just to name another one, they have very low deposit options. And golden tickets for those sports, concerts, theaters, and other events that you can plan as well. Remember, your main job is that of a researcher, so learn all you can. And even if you don't know everything, know where to find the answer. And always remember, take good notes. I can't tell you how many little notebooks and spiral books I have around here with all types of notes and things that I've learned from all of the various trainings that I've done. Step number 8, qualify your client. These are my favorite 5 questions that I ask when someone tells me they want to go on a trip. Question number 1, where do they want to go? Number 2, when do they want to go? Number 3, what do they want to do when they go? Number 4, how many adults or children and the ages of the children? And last but certainly not least, and sometimes I lead with this question, what is your budget? I cannot stress that is so important. And my one tip to you is when you ask someone what their budget is and they're being kind of vague, they'll say things like, oh, well, I don't want nothing too cheap, but don't break the bank either. Get a definite amount. And that way you're not wasting their time and you're not wasting your time. And I'm sure you have stories already of quotes that you've sent and maybe you haven't heard back from people, or maybe they say, well, I didn't say anything because that was too high and I wasn't really looking to spend that much. But if you ask them the question and they don't give you a specific answer, you shouldn't do the work. And this is just my suggestion. I am not going to look up a quote until I have a firm handle on what their budget is. I'll give you a perfect example. A young lady approached me about a trip to Jamaica, and I asked her how much was she looking to spend. She said $400 per person. Now, how quickly do you think I went and looked that quote up? What I did instead was educate her on the prices of travel and to let her know that the $400 wasn't even going to cover her airfare to Jamaica. So what you want to do when you're asking questions and you're qualifying your clients, you want to bring yourself into their world. Find out more about them. People love to talk about themselves. And as long as they're talking, you should be doing what? You should be listening and taking notes. What was their worst vacation experience? What was their best vacation experience? What made the vacation great? If you have someone telling you that they went on a cruise, but they didn't enjoy it that much, they felt like they didn't have enough to do. Maybe they just wasn't off the ship that much. Maybe they went to one location, one destination. Maybe you might try showing them a cruise where they're at a different stop every day. And some people just want to get up and go while they're on vacation. They want to do excursions and they just want to be go, 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 go. So then you know that when you prepare that quote, also prepare a list of different things that they can do once they get to the destination. Whereas another client may say, oh, my best vacation was I went to Mexico and I had an oceanfront bungalow and I just sat there and watched the ocean. I went to the spa a few times. I enjoyed the resort. And maybe that's the person where you might want to give them a trip, maybe not too heavy on excursions, but you might want to really play up the fact that, they have wonderful spa facilities or, all of the things that they can do while they're on the property. And last but not least, do you travel a lot? Know your audience. If they already have a passport, if they're rattling off a bunch of different places that they've already been to, that's your best customer because they already know how much it costs to travel. When you meet someone that says, oh, I don't have my passport yet, I'm getting ready to get it, this person might not be that educated on how much stuff costs. So you might have to spend a little bit more time with them, just educating them, just letting them know how much things cost. So, when they get the initial quote that they're not suffering from sticker shock, like, whoa, I didn't see that coming. Step number 9, become a quote ninja. It all comes down to the quote. Some important things to remember when preparing quotes is Respect your client's budget. We just spoke about this. You may need to educate your client on their taste. A lot of times you will hear this phrase that people have champagne taste on a beer budget, and nowhere else is that more true than in the travel industry. Keep your word. If you promise somebody that you will get back in touch with them in 24 hours or in a day or two, make sure that you do it, because if you don't, someone else will. Two words I have for you: witness protection. How many of you have sent quotes when you finally got around to it and then you never heard back anything from that client? This is how you prevent that. Don't send too many quotes. It will stall the decision-making process. If you send them, most times I send maybe 2, no more than 3 quotes. I'll send a quote at their budget. I'll send a quote slightly above their budget. And I'll send a quote, if possible, slightly below their budget. And the reason why I say that if you send too many quotes, it stalls the decision-making process, because some people, like, they get so excited about planning a trip, it all looks good to them. It's like when you go to the Cheesecake Factory and they bring that menu out, and you're looking at it like, oh my God, this all looks good to you. And the menu has got to be the size of a small spiral book. I know every time I go, I spend 20 minutes looking at the menu only to order the same thing I always order. So just try to keep it down to 1 or 2 quotes. Consider charging for your travel research, but be clear and upfront about this. You don't want to send the quote and be like, oh, that'll be $50. Let them know that your time is valuable and that you charge for your quote. You have a research fee, and if they decide to travel with you, you will apply the research fee to the trip. If you don't value your time, no one else will value your time. Next, set an expectation of two-way communication and be sure to follow up, but don't be a stalker. And the way that I do this, I let people know that I don't really use the word travel agent. I say that I'm a travel consultant. And that means that we're going to consult on these quotes that I'm about to send to you. I want to know if that's what you were looking for, if the price was just a little high, was that the right area of Mexico? Were you looking for something that had a little bit more, that was a little bit more family oriented? Get their buy-in. Definitely communicate with them. Learn how to do price matches and use them in your initial conversation. And you definitely want to do that. Don't be afraid to use the price match word. It's very easy to do a price match. And in most cases, it's just getting a copy of the quote from your customer or client and emailing it to the vendor. In most cases, they get back to you in an hour or so to let you know whether or not they can match the price. Let people feel and realize that you are busy, that you are a busy and seasoned professional. Clients love to feel that you dropped everything to service them. And you can just do that. And I mean, and that way you also give them the idea that it's not just you with a home-based agency. Whenever I get the chance, I always refer to the friends at I am into travel. So when people ask me something, or even when I post, and I'll say, I'm into travel is here with travel news that you can use. Or I make I'm into travel to seem like a big company. I even had a guest, a client one time, they went to Vegas and I sent them, some goodies to their room for their birthday, and I had the card signed, your friends at I'm into travel. I want them to think I got a whole army of travel agents working for me, and actually that's what my vision is, and one day I will have an army of travel agents working for me, because that is my vision. And last but not least, master the 15-minute quote. The quicker you are with the quotes, the less time they have to shop elsewhere. Nobody likes waiting. We so live in an instant gratification or a microwave society these days. Everybody wants everything instantaneously. Just think about it. ladies, how many times have maybe you went to a particular store looking for, I'll say something like a pocketbook or a particular shade of lipstick, and you got to the counter only to find out they didn't have the exact one that you were looking for? I'm the person that always says, well, can you call another store? How far are they? Can they hold it for me? I'll get in the car and drive over and get it now. Well, your clients are like that too. When they get that income tax refund or they get that third paycheck of the month and they got some extra money and they want to put some money down on a trip, send them that quote and send it to them quick. You know, got to strike while the iron's hot. Nobody will say. But here's a question that stumps even the best of us when we're doing a quote. What vendor do I use? What vendor do I use? How many times have you heard that question or have you asked that question? The first place you go is to your vendors list in your back office. And when you look at that vendors list, be sure to notice at the top of the list, you'll see the little gold ribbon in the corner of each box. And that is letting you know that that particular vendor is a preferred vendor. They're a preferred vendor maybe because they pay commissions fast. They're a preferred vendor maybe because they have an excellent level of customer service. They're a preferred vendor maybe because they pay the highest commissions. So, but at either rate, those are the ones that you want to use first. Another vendor resource or travel research resource is Travel Research Online. And again, that's called Travel Research Online. I love this site because when you're looking for those really far away places, let's take Dubai, for example, because that's a place everybody loves to ask, which vendor should I use? Well, when you go to this vendor website, I love it because it has everything broken out on pictures on the map. So it literally pulls up a picture of the globe and you go to the continent where the destination is that you're looking for. So for those of you who weren't good in geography, you might want to brush up on your geography. So for example, let's say we were looking for Dubai. Well, you know that Dubai and Saudi Arabia, all of that stuff is like in that northern Africa type region. And when you go to that map on this website and click on it, then it gives you the individual destinations. You'll find Dubai or the U.S. Emirates, as it's also referred to. And then once you click on it, then it tells you every company, every vendor that does business in Dubai. It gives you a long list from the rental car vendors, the hotel vendors, everybody you could think of. They have destination guides. They tell you the weather at your destination. They'll tell you the best time to visit, when not to go during the rainy season, what type of money they use, and what are all of the different activities that you can do while you're there. You can send this information in a nice professional format to your clients. It'll have your logo on it, and you come off looking as the superhero. Another resource that you have when you're doing research is our very own Facebook group, the Creators of Wealth / Extreme Travel Talk. 100% travel talk only. And then this group is just what it says. All we do is talk about travel and booking questions. This is not the group to congratulate someone on hitting national executive. This is not the group to post the local meetings, but this is the group if you have a question about travel, if you have a question that a client asked you that you're not sure to answer, this is the group for that. Type the search this group. You can type the word Dubai again and hit enter. Once you do that, the group is going to find every post that has the word Dubai. Maybe someone else asked a question about Dubai, and you'll see all of the different posts with all of the different answers. And a lot of times you can search the group even without typing your question and find the answer to your question. So if you're not a member of this group, be sure to join. And number 10, step number 10, don't be afraid to ask for the business. And ways that I do this is, so what did you think of that quote I just sent over? Or, this is a special promotional price that I was able to obtain and it expires in 48 hours. Also, you could try this one. I love this one. Those are great flights that I managed to find for you, and I would sure hate for you to miss out on this price. And last but not least, you could also say, I can put this on a complimentary hold for 24 hours, after which time the space will be released. I used that one just a few days ago with a potential cruise client. And when I said that, they so jumped into action because I had all but sold them. I showed them the suite. I told them all of the great things they could do on a ship. I showed them all of the excursions they could do in the port. And once I said this, and I said that their space will be released, I guess they got the vision of losing their cabin, and they put their credit card down right away. So don't be afraid to ask for the business. Remember, you have to create a sense of urgency, but at the end of the day, some will, some won't. So what? Someone else is waiting. On to the next. Always set goals for your business. Use your social media to promote your business. Who do you know? Make a list of people that you know love to travel. Who do they know? Get referrals. One thing I do with my clients when they book their trips, I always ask them when they're posting trips for their vacation if they can tag me in their posts. I've even had people contact me from a client's page, from a client's post, and book a trip. So it works, folks. Don't be afraid to use social media. Post your certificate on social media. Don't be a secret agent. You are a travel agent. And let's also remember that this is a relationship building business. So get busy building relationships. Yes, you are a recruiter. For those of you who say, I didn't get in this business to recruit, you actually are a recruiter. Every time you book a trip, you are recruiting someone that doesn't know you, someone that's never met you before, to give you their credit card and book a trip. So you are a recruiter. And last but not least, have fun. And I hope you enjoyed the training today. I'm sorry we got off to a late start. But if you have any questions, you guys can always reach me on Facebook. My name is Deidre Lynn, Deidre space Lynn. It was a pleasure sharing this training and information with you today. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the beaches of the world. And if not on the beach, at least come back here next Saturday, same time, same channel, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and so long.